My name is Matthew Linsemier. I train with Sisu Sensei Mahaffey at his school, Magic BJJ, in Lansing, Michigan. I don't know if he told you this. He started it in my basement in 2008. So, if it doesn't work for you today, it's probably because of his teachings. So, but today we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to do a few nasty subs, but we're going to talk a little bit about everybody's favorite that you'll make zero friends in, and that is attacking the diaphragm. So top pressure, even some opportunities of attacking even from bottom, some pointy elbows and stuff like that, but it's primarily on top. So I guess be selective when to deploy this in your roles, because like I said, you typically won't make a lot of friends. How many people here have been diaphragm choked before? Did it suck?
Yes.
Yeah. How would you like to do that like all the time?
Love that.
Love it, right? So everybody knows the diaphragm, right? Everybody's like, oh, your coaches always say, I'm getting undressed now. They always say, oh, hey, just put your elbow here, right? Or you put your fist here, or put your shoulder, but realistically, your diaphragm, right, is like a bladder that goes all the way around. And your ribs aren't really as, what I say, sturdy, and they'll kind of move within that. So what we're going to talk about is how we can, with topside pressure, make it always uncomfortable after we've beaten the vectors and gotten to our good position of topside control. We won't just talk topside control, we'll also talk Kessa, reverse Kessa, even north-south, okay? So if I can have you go down real quick. Just like everything in jiu-jitsu, sometimes size does matter. So if you can find a partner similar for this exercise at least, be good. Like us, like for example, I'm like about 185. So if like a 185 guy can do it on a 165 guy, I mean, it definitely can work. Okay. So I think the first thing I want to do, and you guys have probably already done this, probably your coaches. Anybody done the chest surfing drill where you can put your hands behind your back and you try not to fall off your partner, right? So I want us to find just a little space, and I want you guys just to think of how can I, stealing from Josh McKenna, stay chest to chest, Superman to Superman, without hand assist, and just move around the body. And move around the body. Okay, now, I want you guys to grab your partner, okay? Let's just kind of play with this just for maybe, like I said, do like maybe a minute aside, just kind of back and forth. Things I want you to concentrate on. No elbows on the mat, no hands on the mat, no knees on the mat, active toes, and try to keep your Superman symbol over their Iron Man symbol, okay? Any questions?
Is the bottom person just lying there or trying to escape?
I just want the bottom person to take it. Okay? Okay? And, you should be able to sense just a little, I mean, if you're hearing I almost want a camera on Zach's face for this, just so you know when it's working or not. But if they should feel uncomfortable, okay? But we're gonna make it way worse, because this is just chest over chest. Okay, so let's do that, make some space. Again, hands behind the back, try to stay centered, just work side to side, nothing special, right? But again, no hands, no elbows, no knees on the mat, planked out. Make them carry your weight, okay? Questions of that? I'm a clapper, okay, on 2, 1, 2. How many people, is this uncomfortable? How many people were putting their hands down, being like, oh, I don't want to hurt my partner? Be honest, I saw a couple of you, right? Oh, I don't want to smash my partner. Wrong. Pansy signed up for this. She's here to get smashed. Yeah, exactly. That's what you have to say, right? If there's no pressure, you go, man, you feel really light, right? So, when I think about pressure, and this is something that Hegan said ages ago, is that pressure, you have like two types of pressure. Well, there's a lot of types of pressure. Two types of pressure is you have like gravity assisted, which is kind of what we were just doing, and then we have object assisted. We'll talk about gravity assisted, assisted first, which is basically my body weight versus his body weight, right? And kind of where we can apply that and how we can make it worse. So when I put pressure on Zach like this, straight down, everybody felt this. They were like, oh, this sucked. Yeah, okay, it's whatever, right? But when you think about the diaphragm, it's like I can put pressure down, right? But if I knead the dough, which is what amassando, which was what I talked in Brazilian, it's not just like, how do you knead dough, right? It's like, I mean, I've never done it, I just use the analogy. But it's like, you know, you're constantly like rolling. So I don't think about just putting pressure. I think about how do I roll my chest cavity back to find the pressure, right?
You found it.
Right? And I'm not talking about attacking his sternum, because his sternum's a pretty strong bone. I mean, you can still crack people's sternum, it happens. But like, it's finding that position slightly below, right in that, like everybody has this spot, right? And again, it's like, I can bring it back towards me and I can put pressure, okay? Now, when I think about doing that, I'm gonna take this off just cause. When I think about doing that, I have some rules. So my rules are, I draw this like center line down his body, right? That center line. I like try to think of, can I keep my chest south of the center line, right? And I think of, like, for me, it's a stupid acronym, but I think about applying pressure, right? I think about having good position. I think about relaxing my body. I think about elbows off the mat, right? Sinking into my opponent and using hips. So if we go from top pressure, some people play here and it's fine, to a position where I can roll in. How do we feel here, Zach?
It's uncomfortable.
Okay. If I put my elbows on the mat, how does it feel?
Oh, this is fine.
Okay. If I put my knees on the mat.
This is great.
Okay.
I'd like you to play from here more.
And there's nothing wrong with this. This is a great attacking position. Okay. But the older I get, the more souls I want to see leave his body before I start attacking how I want to attack. So I want you guys to kind of feel your sternum, draw that line, and I want you to think of, okay, I'm chest to chest, okay? Now it's gonna be good position, elbows off the mat, and kind of relaxing, okay? If I put my elbows on the mat, back, knees on the mat, back, okay? The great thing about this is I can put pressure here, but I can also put pressure here. All I'm doing is changing and put pressure this way, and even here. So when I think about myself moving around the body, if I'm here and I got pressure and I don't like something, I dig here. I don't just leave his hips on the ground. I'm digging in here. And everybody loves. Not yet.
When he's on top, they usually puke on themselves.
Okay. But if we think about like, again, it's like you guys play Kessa all day. But if I can get that chest, elbows off the mat, this sucks. Even in a position where I reverse, I can still drive my chest. How do you feel here, Zach?
Not good.
Versus just being here,
Oh, this is fine.
right? So it's that same thing, driving in. Or even to the point here. How about now?
This is great.
This is not great.
So I want you guys just to kind of experiment with using that nice sternum that God given us, finding that soft spot in the diaphragm, soft spots in the ribs, and think about doing an upward dog while keeping our elbows off the mat, our knees off the mat, and our toes, and dropping our hips. Okay? This is not a position necessarily I stay in. I work around the body. I mean, he's gonna try to replace guard. I go north-south. I try to keep that pressure on at all times. Okay? If your partner, friend that you're training with right now, doesn't have the change in their voice, you're not hitting the diaphragm. Okay? And, which we'll get to, sometimes smaller people might have a harder time to do it than larger people, so we have to move to things like object assisted, right? What are objects? Hammers. You know, someone throwing in like a chair, right? Or fists, knees, and elbows, right? How many people likes to get knee on belly from, you know, in the diaphragm while you're chest to chest, pulling your elbows off the mat? Nobody, right? Ever had your hand stuck here, right? And then you're like, you know, you're like a blue belt and your black belt's making fun of you, or you're trying to do this and he's like choking you? Yeah. So we'll get to that. So maybe I've over-explained, I'm sorry, but questions? You guys think about play with this a little bit? Okay? Like, again, you're not gonna make friends, but you know, it's effective. Trust me. And it can only get worse. I'm sure a lot of black belts have been doing this for years, so. Okay? Let's play with this. On 2, 1, 2. The notorious thing that always hit me when I first started doing this was, again, my position and my head position. Right? The idea is like, everybody always thinks, I shouldn't say everybody, but like how many times does, you know, your coach said, oh, you grab the head and then you just squeeze. And the next thing you know, you're like trying to drive their head as forward as far as you possibly can. And the next thing you do is you lose balance, blah, 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 right? So when I think about like setting this up, I think about, I don't want my head here. Like I can put good pressure here, but like if I'm driving, Zach doesn't have to do much to tip me, right? So we still have to mind, right, our good position, good frames, things on our side. So I always think that I put my chin over his shoulder and I use that as kind of that initial guideline. Is kind of good for me. If I start wandering, now I'm trying to push. Remember, my vector, thanks Thomas, is not this way. My vector is, can I push his diaphragm into the mat, right? So even though I'm doing this, realistically the pressure is like shooting down and through his body. So I'm not doing this. I'm sinking doing this, okay? So let's do a couple more minutes and then we'll talk about moving to Kessa and some cool attacks from there. Okay? Questions? Got it? Input? Okay, let's do it. On 2, 1, 2. Okay. Now, say, you know, I mean, like I said, say I'm going against Keith, you know, and I'm like 170 and Keith's like, you know, 300 or whatever, 280. We're not really that close, right? And I'm just, man, none of this stuff works. My gravity assist is just not enough, right? So then I think about, like, again, objects, okay? An object assisted attack on a diaphragm can pretty much go, kind of come from anywhere, right? It could be something, let's turn. We'll turn to these guys. I don't see how many does it connect. I'll look right back over there. So this could, This could come as something as much as a knee in the diaphragm, right? Maybe he's a wacky guy that, I'm fighting, he's really looking for this underhook. He wants the underhook, right? I'm fighting in here, right? And I go for the wrist lock, he doesn't like it, so he makes a fist, right? He's not gonna let me wrist lock him. So I put the fist and I set on top. So now I have object assisted diaphragm. And this is like, if you ever catch the fist, because again, you go for the wrist lock, right? And they do this, and then you catch this, then it's like the old monkey in the jar thing, right? They're like, hey, I can't get my hand out because they can't want to open their hand, but I'm smashing it, right? And we have to remember that again, the diaphragm goes right all the way around. So maybe I'm like, oh, this sucks, I can't get anything. Well, what if I slide my hand underneath? How do we feel here?
This is not good.
What if I teacup him?
Oh, this is.
Are those foot taps?
Right? So if we think about it again, it's like not necessarily I'm looking for a spinal cord, but like, can I put it on one side or the other side? I particularly like this credit card here, okay? And again, this is great. Oh, I can't get chest to chest. So I'm gonna put my elbow in front on the diaphragm, my hand on the back. How do we get?
Yep.
So knees, elbows, hands can kind of help, especially with gi. Like Roy Harris did this to me at a seminar. He's just like, whoop, and pushed it right here and just sat on top of it. And it was this is a right? So if we think about stacking on top of stacking on top of stacking, we make a very miserable position for them. So if you guys want to play around with that a little bit, again, people love underhooks. And again, sometimes underhooks turn into Kimuras, right? Sometimes this inside hip can turn into an object assisted. And then, like I said, if you're winning on top and they're suffering, unless it's a comp, you're down on points, like, and my idea is like, especially with some of how deep the rooms is of like purple, brown, black belts, for example, it's like, if I get to this position, anywhere here, I want to stay there. I don't want to be on bottom. Work really, really hard to get on top. I'm going to try and make them uncomfortable, and I will literally lazy it out until the timer goes off. I don't really care. I mean, I want to do jiu-jitsu, but the whole idea is that how many you people work really, really hard to get to a position and you lose it right away, and you're like, man, this sucks, right? So I'm not in a hurry. I'm like, how can I make them uncomfortable? Because eventually, arms that are doing this start doing this when they want their arm out really well. Or they're just like, please, like, I have to go to the bathroom. Okay, tap, I'm good, right? So it's like there's ideas there that kind of get built in. So think about like, again, putting here, right? How you're coming into Kesa and using this hip and trapping. Think about putting your hand or your fist behind where it's comfortable. And see if you can change the attitude of your uke. Okay. Again, like I said at the beginning, selectively, right? This is I usually reserve this for like that guy that doesn't trim his nails,
Me.
right? Doesn't wash their gi, or Zach, right? So let's play with this a little bit, and then we'll talk a few subs. Okay, guys, come on, So, like number one, and one of mine, like number one for cross side is like, there's cross faces, right? Eric talked a little bit about that, right? You have the cross face, right? Or the cross face. I find that if any of you guys have the 18 to like say 25 wrestler guys that you could put as much pressure on their jaw as possible, hearing it crack, and they're still like, I'm not going to give up type of people, right? And then you're like, well, now you're in an injury. So it's like, I prefer to actually make them hate it and choke versus that. So when I think about this, we're going to move this way. This is important. When I think about this, regardless of you guys are at, you have like the shoulder of justice, which everybody knows, right? Deep end, you know all about shoulder of justice, right? Like, how many people do this? But then how many times has someone done this to you and it's immediate fight or flight, adrenaline jump, you start spazzing around, maybe you get out, maybe you don't, right? I like to not necessarily give them that chance. So I think about, I'm here, I'm putting pressure, I say my middle and my ring finger, and I find his armpit. Okay, now I can turn his head. Now if I want to be mean, I could do this, right? But I'm not a mean guy. Okay, so again, I'm going to change my shoulder position. I'm going to roll my entire body towards the hips, and I'm going to place it right in his carotid. Now you're like, there's no way you can one-armed or one-hand choke here. It's true. Not really, but I'm going to take this opposite side. I'm going to bring this into his diaphragm, and I'm just going to drop my shoulder. So you have spazzy guy. Bring this towards, and I'm just dropping that hip. And the cool thing is I'm putting my elbow in his diaphragm here, but what does this also do? Starts pulling his shoulder into his own shoulder. So we get that almost had an arm feeling. And when I say that, like I put my shoulder on his neck, like I'm posting on his neck, right? I'm not just like pushing. My idea is, can I post off of his neck?
I'm not making those noises on purpose either. It's not my fault.
The most important thing here is that body shift and the shoulder roll. This is something I stole from Ryan Hall like 12 years ago. He always does the shoulder roll to kind of beat the chin. And it's like, I would teach people shoulder roll here, and they would just like, well, I'm shoulder rolling. Well, not really. So it's like I move my shoulder, like I'm trying to move towards his hips, right? And even if you tuck your chin, I'm basically putting that shoulder right here. And believe it or not, if you wait long enough, you'll still choke them out here. But this far arm assist, where I'm, this isn't just here. This is towards the mat, so he can't move. Right? If I leave it out here, he can maybe shuffle into me, right? But if I bring this into his diaphragm, it kind of takes away his ability to turn into me. So it's my weight versus his carotid, and the carotid on the other side of that. So, questions? Want to play with this? This is the nice crossface, right? Absolute worst thing that happens, typically apart from this, is they start like doing whatever, and I take them out super easy because they're like, I don't like this at all. It's horrible. Okay? So, this is what you're doing. Don't forget that. Don't be nice. Be nice, but don't be nice. Okay, guys? 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, one thing the Happy's gym is known for, right, is like wrist locks, right? And he always says, why avoid 3% of the body? And I mean, I agree with him, but I don't even risk white belts, and yet he does all the time. So, so it's like, just be careful visiting his gym is all I gotta say. Okay. So I'm just gonna do some simple wrist locks, some nice ones. They have some good frames. We'll talk about a nice Kessa wrist lock, which I call like the school bus. Only because you remember, I don't know if you guys ever, who rode the bus in here? Remember the, yeah, that's what I like to do with the wrist from that position. So, but like simple ones. How many people do wrist locks? How many people are a blue belt or above? Why don't you do wrist locks? One day you will be 55 and you'll understand the power of the wrist lock.
We like having friends though. As part of it.
Right. So
They wrist lock me back.
Mhm.
that's great. That means you're both getting practice. Right? So first one, super simple. You probably have already seen this, but I still use this a lot, is literally they've got the fantastic frames. Oh my God, I hate this, right? If I'm doing top pressure, like typically I won't stay here, right? Like I'm gonna be like, if he's starting to push pressure here, I start to apply a different vector of force while also still putting pressure as I pass, right? So I guess my first thing of top side pressure is always like, if you feel like you're gonna lose it, or you know you're gonna lose it, right? Move, transition, right? I'm sure your coach has told you that a million times. Like, don't hold the guard, right? Sifu Mike said this, don't hold the guard until like your toes break apart. Open it on your time. So like, I'm gonna move on my time. But sometimes they piss me off, right? And I'm just like, okay. So if they have this good, I don't like this, right? I think, well, okay, they have done what? Posted my shoulder, right? So all I need to do is get a bend in the wrist and I need a backstop. Well, that's not that hard, right? So if we think about being here and I can use my chin and just open up, I'm just gonna post his wrist, right? How many people do this to you? Everybody, right? So just here. That was your elbow.
Yeah, it was mine.
Like my whole idea is just, can I bend the wrist? Can I open the wrist? Can I take weight off my knees? Okay? Right? Sometimes wrist locks are just there to get them to move. Right? Like if you're not sitting, in my opinion, if you're not sitting there in half guard while they're fighting you, like just like trying to like wrist lock them. Did I get wrist lock? No. What happened? No. You opened everything up. Thank you. Right? Because I want people scared to touch me.
Done.
Right? If they have to double check every time when they try to post or touch or whatever, like, am I going to drop my hip like some guy if they post my hip doing it the wrong way? No, I should, but as a good lesson, everybody has to get wrist locked in the hip one time to realize that you don't put your wrist in post. Okay? So, play with this just a little bit. Again, they've got a good frame. My idea here is I start adjusting the head and I find my chin basically in the break. And the whole idea here is I'm going to open the elbow, double set the elbow, and then I just bring my chest into the wrist. Okay? Questions? Right? Go slow. Be nice. Okay? On two.
Just kidding.
Sure, Mike. Hey, Mike, come here. I'll show you. Okay? Okay, let's do it. On two, 1, 2. How many people made friends? Anybody? Right? ABW. Always be wrist locking. I think that should be. Okay. So, sure a lot of you guys are super familiar with Kessa, right? I was not a judo guy, and I won't say that my Kessa sucks, but like, I didn't wrestle. My scarf hold's not as great, so I really like, right, the underarm when I'm sitting north-south. So, but you guys, a lot of people here, or you're here, you guys know all these wonderful things, right? So, for me, if I can't get this pressure tap, right, I'm like, I'm way off. He's just like, man, that's nothing, right? This is where I start like playing with this arm. Now, a lot of people might arm bar or whatever from here. I look to shoot my knee through and collect. So I'm almost doing opposite of what we're doing in Kesa, right? And there's a bunch of ways. It's like, I can push, drive my knee, right? I can drive my knee up and I can wrist lock. But what I'm really looking for is to pull this, collect, and touch my knee to my heel. So I've got this trapped in between. Now, definitely there's a really nice arm lock here, okay? But, I've got this beautiful lever right here, and I feel like I can drive the school bus pretty easy. Now, I'm being nice, right? And like whatever, but the idea is that, like, especially if they're making their fist, I try to push the arm up as far as I can. And again, I'm just pushing down, but realistically, I would be lifting my body up by pushing down, okay? Because his wrist, if it's straight, can hold a lot here. But like if I'm fighting this, then I just, like this becomes like I'm doing a push up off of his wrist, right? Super, super easy, right? And again, why avoid 3% of the body? Now, if you guys are like, oh, I don't do wrist locks, that's fine. We can hip heist to a arm lock or your triangle. But I really just want you to wrist lock, right? You will know any wrist lock you'll know is good when his hips start coming off the mat to try to relieve the pressure. So I give you guys options. In, bring it forward, wrist lock, especially in a gi, right? I bring my hand inside to block, my head comes, and then however you guys want to finish. If you want your triangle, doesn't really matter. Questions? The important one's the wrist lock. Right? They will remember your name. Okay? Go slow. It sucks. Okay? 1, 2, 1, 2. So a lot of times when I'm playing in here, especially when I'm here, I look at my double unders, right? And I look at getting this double unders. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to go high mount. I like to sit on their face. And the whole idea is I bring their hands close or their elbows as close to their face as I possibly can. And I go high mount. And I'm just going to grab one and grab the other. Now, if anybody's ever ridden a bicycle before, right? Again, all I have to do is turn just a little bit. Okay, my legs are pinching, bringing everything nice and close, right? Ding, ding. Again, you'll probably get this once on one guy, and they'll never let you get you here, which is probably good. That's why you should go for it. Again, and this literally just starts with this double unders. I'm pinching, I'm pinching, I'm pinching. Now I have the arms. Okay, I make his elbows touch, and I steer the bottom arm into the top arm.
What's locking then? Shoulders or
What's locking, Zach?
everything?
I can't move.
What's the sub?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the shoulder. When he's doing the, it's on my left arm because he's putting this one in here and it's like extending the.
Yeah. Yep. Ah.
It's a Kimura.
Yeah.
Do you have to ask about your $2 while you're doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only about 4 people got that joke. Okay. So we don't have to drill this one. That's time. We got open mat. Thank you guys for letting me teach today. Thank you, Jesse. Thanks, Mike, for letting me represent the school. I appreciate you. I hope I didn't embarrass you. I hope you got a little bit about pressure. I got a couple good other things too from a couple other people that I'm going to integrate the next time I teach this too as well. They'll be very helpful. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yeah.